guys okay?
The fallout from the killing of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk has taken another turn. In Utah, neighbors say the transgender live-in partner of accused shooter Tyler Robinson has fled their shared townhouse. Lance Twiggs, a 22-year-old transitioning transgender woman, had been cooperating with investigators in the days after the September 10th shooting, but now she hasn't been seen for several days. The once busy $1,800 a month townhouse now sits eerily quiet. Notes remain taped to the front door, while piles of unopened mail continue to stack up. Neighbors told reporters the sudden disappearance has left the community unsettled, adding yet another layer of mystery to an already explosive case. Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby previously had said Twiggs was being kept in a safe space very far away from St. George for security reasons. Authorities said the backlash against Twiggs, who came under fire for not immediately reporting Robinson's confession, has made safety a pressing concern. Though never charged with a crime, Twiggs has been central to the case. Robinson allegedly left a handwritten note under Twiggs' computer keyboard, and in a string of text messages admitted to the killing. Twiggs responded with disbelief, according to investigators, trying to rationalize what was quickly spiraling into tragedy.
Tyler's apartment was in St. George city limits. The parents' home was in Washington city limits. So since the sheriff's office is primarily patrolling small rural communities, the unincorporated areas of the county, if there were any calls to the residents in St. George City, the highest probability that just St. George City would handle that, not the sheriff's office. So I don't have any data that would support that one way or the other.
Sheriff, have you interviewed his roommate, Robinson's roommate?
No, we're not the lead investigators, so we wouldn't be doing that.
Sheriff, how would you characterize the parents of what you knew that night?
I don't know anything about them.
What did they mention in the phone calls?
No.
Sheriff, how do you feel about the fact that this surrender happened as it was in the police office, at a police station, and kind of was peaceful, inviting, as you framed it, and not like a SWAT situation or a big operation that happened in the neighborhood?
Right. That made him comfortable enough. The conditions were satisfactory to him to where he ended up getting a ride with my friend to be dropped off here. We did have some initial discussion internally. So I run the county jail, and we have to think ahead. So what if Tyler ends up staying the night in our facility? What does that look like? Because of the circumstance, he was driven to Utah County that night, I'm going to say maybe about 2 a.m. So that took that weight off us on how we're going to keep him safe in our facility and talking about constant supervision and things like that. But that didn't occur.
2 weeks after Robinson's arrest, police cruisers are still a fixture in the normally tranquil subdivision. The absence of Twiggs, who once walked the streets with Robinson, is now part of the larger mystery haunting the neighborhood.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated at UVU in the afternoon. About a 33-hour manhunt ensued, and I was winding down for the evening. And at exactly 8:02 on the 11th, I received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be a retired detective that worked for me for many years. I didn't put that out there initially. I wanted to protect that individual as much as possible. Unfortunately, in the court documents, which is standard, he was referenced as a retired Washington County deputy. So I didn't put that out there. It was in the court docs. I was trying to protect even that information and just saying retired law enforcement in general. So I get a call from my friend, and his said, "Hey, how you doing?" Good. And it's not, he's been retired a few years. We'll call each other. It's not unusual for me to get a call from him or vice versa. And at 8:02 p.m., he calls me. Hey, I can tell his voice is kind of shaky. So my first thought is, who died? Like who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is. I know the family through religious association, and he's in Washington County now, and we're working on trying to get him to come in voluntarily." During that phone call, some information was provided about Tyler potentially having some suicidal ideations, was en route to a remote area of Washington County. The parents convinced him not to do that, and conveyed that they would stand by him and help him surrender peacefully. So at that point, that phone call was 1 minute and 41 seconds. I immediately called Sheriff Mike Smith in Utah County, who I knew was at the incident command in Utah County. So for about 40 seconds, I'm telling Sheriff Smith, hey, I'm confident we have the shooter in Washington County. We're working on getting him to come in and surrender at my office. We didn't have him yet. And after about 40 seconds, Sheriff Smith's like, wait, what are you talking about? So he was shocked, as I was, to hear the news. And so I repeated myself. He said, how credible is it? I said, I trust this guy that called me with my life, and I think it's time you need to get your people, the lead investigators, headed to Washington County. Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives. So that was part of the deal. Is Tyler knew it was just inevitable with all the law enforcement pressure that his picture in the news, the gun on the news. He knew it was inevitable that he would be caught. He was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable to where he would show up at my office, and that's exactly what happened. So essentially, we weren't the lead agency. Basically, it was about a 2.5 hour waiting in a room, not communicating with the suspect. Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here. So after about 2.5 hours, we ended up getting federal agents and state agents in, and some of my detectives were asked to go out into the community and secure 2 locations, so the parents' home and the apartment that Tyler was living in, along with the vehicle that Tyler was likely driving up at UVU. So that's about it.
Sheriff, how would you characterize that former law enforcement friend of yours as doing something good here?
Yeah, outstanding. He deserves full credit. I think that a lot of it is just the community relations, right? So Tyler's family trusted this individual. They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point, and enough community involvement there that they trusted that they could go to this individual and he could contact me directly, and that we could facilitate a peaceful, calm, relaxed surrender, put it that way, right? Make him comfortable for a couple hours, make sure he has water, no communication until the lead investigators arrived.